Who is the most underrated Hall of Fame running back of all time? I think that it's Leroy Kelly, and I'm going to tell and show you why. Replacing Jim Brown at running back for the Browns wasn't fair. No one was going to replace him as the all-time rushing leader or collect the amount of accolades that he did, yet Leroy Kelly was always going to be compared to him. At Kelly's retirement from the NFL after the 1973 season, he was fourth on the all-time rushing yardage list, 5,038 yards behind Jim Brown, and third on the all-time rushing touchdown list. He was eligible for introduction into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1979, yet he waited unnecessarily until 1994 before gaining entrance. To me, that's underrated. Let me know in the comments who you think is the most underrated Hall of Fame running back, and please click the like, subscribe, and notification buttons. Let's get after it. Kelly was drafted in the 8th round of the 1964 NFL Draft out of Morgan State in Baltimore. Fellow Hall of Famer Paul Warfield was drafted in the 1st round by the Browns that year too. Kelly's first 2 years were stuck behind Jim Brown in the starting lineup, but he was on the Browns' 1964 NFL championship team nevertheless. From 1966 through 1973 as a starter, he only missed 3 games, which is very impressive. Leroy Kelly had good speed, power, darting moves, and quick, smart decision-making skills as he laterals to number 87, Eppie Barney. After taking over the starting running back job from Jim Brown, Kelly had 3 straight 1,000-yard rushing seasons. How rare was that? He was only the 3rd man to do it. Of course, Jim Brown was the first. Jim Taylor was the second. Leroy Kelly was more than just an outstanding rusher. He also caught 190 passes for 2,281 yards and 13 touchdowns. His 12.0 yards per catch is incredible for a running back. So, how does Leroy Kelly stack up against the all time greats? Pro Football Reference's Hall of Fame monitor, which rates the running backs, regardless if they're in the Hall of Fame or not, at number 22. That's one spot behind Curtis Martin and one spot ahead of Tony Dorsett. Kelly is also ranked ahead of fellow Hall of Famers Jerome Bettis, John Riggins, Paul Hornung, Larry Zonka, and Floyd Little. Leroy Kelly was an all-purpose running back. He returned 94 punts for 3 touchdowns and an excellent 10.5-yard average. He also returned 76 kickoffs for a 23.5-yard average. He even punted 10 times in 1967 for a respectable 40.7-yard average. Leroy's brother Pat was a big leaguer for 15 years, and he had big wheels like Leroy too. He stole 250 bases, topping out with 40 in 1969 for the expansion Royals. His .264 batting average is respectable for the tough-to-hit era in which he played. Leroy Kelly was only 3 of 16 passing with 2 touchdowns, but here's a 34-yarder to Paul Warfield in 1968. In 1969, he threw a 20-yard touchdown pass. In 1965, the world champion Browns lost to the Green Bay Packers in the NFC Championship game 23-12. Kelly returned 1 kickoff for 46 yards, but that was the extent of his contribution. In 1966, the Browns finished out of the playoffs with a 9-5 record. While they won the NFL Century Division title in 1967 with another 9-5 record, they were trounced by the Cowboys 52-14 in the divisional playoff round. In Kelly's 1968 Player of the Year award season, the Browns won the division again with a 10-4 record, beat the Cowboys 31-20 in the first round of the playoffs, then got kicked by the Colts 34-0 in the NFL championship game. They experienced deja vu in 1969 as they again won their division, this time with a 10-3-1 record. They throttled the Cowboys 38-14, but then lost again in the NFL championship game, this time 27-7 to the Vikings. In 1970, the Browns took a big step backwards by only winning 7 games, but they bounced back in 1971 by winning 9 games and losing 5. Unfortunately, they lost the divisional playoff round to the eventual Super Bowl champion Baltimore Colts by a score of 20-3. They finished second to the Steelers in the AFC Central Division in 1972, went to the playoffs as a wild card entrant, and lost to the upstart Dolphins 20-14. In Kelly's last year with the Browns in 1973, they finished with a 7-win, 5-loss, 2-tie record and were out of the playoffs. In Kelly's 8 years as a starter, the Browns went to the playoffs 5 times, which is a testament to the degree of value that he brought to the team. In 1974, he played with the World Football League Chicago Fire. He rushed for 315 yards and received another 128 yards. In 1975, he became their offensive backfield coach. Future Hall of Fame defensive back Herb Adderley was their defensive coordinator, and future Hall of Fame defensive back Willie Wood was their head coach, as well as the answer to the trivia question, who is the first African American professional football head coach? I hope that you enjoyed this video. Please click the like button and comment about who you think is the most underrated Hall of Fame running back of all time. As always, thank you for watching.